Now at livenation.com, Ticketmaster, or charge by phone. The Icons, the show, the Who. Moving on.
Good morning, America. This morning, government back open. The longest shutdown in U.S. history is history.
We have reached a deal.
Was an air traffic control sick out the breaking point? The Democrats standing firm on border security funding.
Have I not been clear on a wall?
But is another shutdown inevitable?
Fighting back. Roger Stone defiant in the face of a federal indictment.
I will plead not guilty to these charges.
The special counsel's office charging the longtime Trump advisor with 7 felonies. The president now weighing in.
Deadly crash, the disaster in Texas, a train colliding with a school bus. The impact pushing that bus a quarter-mile down the tracks, killing a 13-year-old boy. What we're now learning about the crossing where this happened.
Miracle rescue. The 3-year-old recovering this morning after spending 2 nights in the freezing wet woods. How he was found, being called a miracle. His rescuers speaking out this morning.
And Super Bowl sneak peek, the ads you'll be watching this year.
Don't do that.
Why Coca-Cola is making a change and who will be putting in a celebrity appearance.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
I didn't know Michael Bublé had comedic chops. Excited to see that. Good morning, everybody. We're going to begin here with key parts of the U.S. government finally and slowly going through the process of reopening right now after the longest shutdown in American history. Overnight, President Trump signing legislation providing funding for 3 weeks, giving Democrats and Republicans a chance to negotiate a deal on border security.
The deal coming as the strain of the partial shutdown caused hundreds of flight delays and a ground stop at a major New York airport. The president may have been feeling the public pressure to reach a deal.
And another source of pressure, some tough polling numbers. In fact, a new ABC News Washington Post poll finds a majority of Americans blame President Trump and Republicans in Congress for the shutdown. That same poll finding the president's job approval rate falling from 41% in October to 37% this week, the lowest on record for any president after 2 years in office.
We have team coverage this morning, starting with ABC's White House correspondent Tara Palmieri. Good morning to you, Tara.
Good morning, Eva. The government may be open, but the fight is far from over. The president is already threatening to close the government down again in 3 weeks if he doesn't get funding for the border wall. At the same time, he's holding on to a more powerful option that's declaring a national emergency so that he can bypass Congress and build the wall himself.
President Trump ending the longest government shutdown in U.S. history.
I am very proud to announce today that we have reached a deal to end the shutdown and reopen the federal government.
After 35 days of deadlock with Democrats over his demand for $5.7 billion for a border wall, Trump conceding. The House and Senate now passing a bill to reopen the government, and the president finally signing it last night. But it's a short-term bill that doesn't pay for the wall. Just 3 weeks of funding.
I have no complaint. We asked the president to open up government so we'd have time to have a debate on the best way to protect our border.
Air traffic controllers who are working without pay, calling out of work en masse Friday, causing flight delays at major airports. The staff shortage even causing a ground stop at New York's LaGuardia Airport.
American 970, I got a reroute for you.
The S&P rating agency suggesting the shutdown cost the U.S. economy at least $6 billion, more than the president's request for the border wall. Federal workers who dealt with financial insecurity for the past month finally going to be paid.
I will make sure that all employees receive their back pay very quickly or as soon as possible.
But Trump warning the fight is not over.
We're going to work with the Democrats, we're going to see. And if we can't do that, then we'll do, obviously, we're going to do the emergency, because that's what it is. It's a national emergency.
Overnight, responding to backlash from conservatives, tweeting, "This was in no way a concession. It was taking care of millions of people who were getting badly hurt by the shutdown, with the understanding that in 21 days, if no deal is done, it's off to the races." The president's political rivals relishing in his defeat and still saying no to a border wall.
Are you no longer ruling out any money for the wall. Are you now?
Wait, have I not been clear on the wall? Okay. No, I have been very clear on the wall.
No one should ever underestimate the speaker, as Donald Trump has learned. Our Democrats stayed totally unified.
Now, this is the first time that President Trump lost to Nancy Pelosi this week. She refused to let him deliver the State of the Union when the government was shut down. The date was originally scheduled for Tuesday, and now they had to get together to agree on another date. Guys?
All right, thank you, Tara Palmieri. Hundreds of thousands of those government workers hoping their first paychecks in more than a month will come quickly.
But some are concerned they'll be back in the same position when government funding runs out again in just 3 weeks. ABC's Ariel Reshef has more on what federal workers are saying this morning.
We have reached a deal. A collective sigh of relief for more than 800,000 federal workers.
We get to go back to it.
The end to the longest partial government shutdown in U.S. history.
We need to get paid.
A temporary reprieve, but that February 15th deadline looming for a so far elusive compromise on border security.
Giving us a temporary solution is not really beneficial to us. Sure, they'll open it long enough to pay us our back pay, but then we're still dealing with uncertainties going forward.
The 3-week agreement to get government employees back to work, hardly leaving a sense of long-term security. Crystal Kirkpatrick has worked for the IRS for 5 years.
I donate plasma to make up the extra money that I just don't make. I'm not going to quit my second job yet because I don't know if this is a Band-Aid or a solution.
Ryan Baugh works for Immigration Services, but as he plans to head back to work, Baugh says he's asking himself, what for?
I think all of us are kind of asking ourselves right now, is this a job that we can rely on? Is this a job that has our back like we have its back?
And a senior administration official says specific payroll issues may vary by agency. Government workers are urged to contact their employers about paycheck information. Dan, federal employees should receive back pay, but contractors paid by private companies to work for the government may not.
That's really painful, and it's so poignant to hear that one federal employee wondering aloud whether this is a job he can count on. Ariel Reshef, thank you. Let's bring in ABC's Matthew Dowd, who's our chief political analyst. He joins us from Texas this morning. Matthew, do these federal workers have reason to be concerned about another shutdown coming up in just a few weeks? Given how much heat the president took for this one, do you think he'd be willing to pull the trigger again?
You know, Dan, Hollywood doesn't normally make a sequel after a bomb at the box office, but they've done it before. I think of Deuce Bigalow, where they made a sequel of Deuce Bigalow. I think the president it would be a good thing if he took some time of self-reflection in this and realize that doing it again is not going to help him. But with this president, you never know what he's going to do and whether or not he'll step in it one more time.
You left out Benji the Hunted. That was one of my favorites. Politically, are there clear winners and losers in this story, in your view?
Absolutely. It could be more crystal clear. First, on the loser, the big loser in this is the president. First of all, he shut the government down, putting 800,000 workers without getting paid. His poll numbers dropped. He united the Democrats. And so I think in this, the big loser is the president. The big winner, obviously, the 800,000 workers who are going to get paid now, but also Nancy Pelosi. She's established herself as a dominant force. And I think a big winner in this broadly is the fact that people now look at this and understand government matters. The services that government provides matters. When you don't have them, things in the country begin to go awry. So I think Nancy Pelosi and actually the institutions of government are the winners in this.
Matthew Dowd joining us from Texas. Matthew, thank you very much. And what was that statistic we were talking about?
Well, the fact that $6 billion, it was estimated now, has been lost because of the government shutdown, and the president wanted $5.7 billion. We were just wondering whether or not, which side would benefit from that stat line the most, promoting that. Yeah.
Probably nobody.
Exactly. Yeah. That's where we are right now. Meantime, to a friend of President Trump and former advisor remaining defiant this morning after being indicted as part of the special counsel's investigation.
Roger Stone is now the 6th Trump associate charged by Robert Mueller's office. ABC's Kira Phillips is in Virginia with that story. Kira, good morning.
Good morning, Eva. Well, he's an eccentric and controversial fixture in big-ticket politics, known in equal parts for his merciless tactics and vintage style. Also a player in 5 presidential campaigns, but now one of President Trump's oldest friends has something else to add to his extravagant resume, a federal indictment in one of our country's most high-profile investigations.
This morning, there's plenty to say about Roger Stone, the veteran political strategist, longtime Trump advisor, and latest person charged in connection to the special counsel's ongoing probe into Russian election meddling. Charged with 7 federal felonies, including obstruction, making false statements to Congress, and witness tampering. The self-proclaimed dirty trickster channeling his inner Nixon, taking to the steps of the Fort Lauderdale courthouse to proclaim his innocence.
I will plead not guilty to these charges. I will defeat them in court.
At the center of the investigation, Stone's communications with WikiLeaks. Stone saying on Fox,
"There's no evidence that I received anything whatsoever from WikiLeaks, that I knew the subject or the content of this material."
Prosecutors say that in the summer of 2016, Stone told senior Trump campaign officials that WikiLeaks might have information damaging to the Clinton campaign. Around that time, after WikiLeaks started publishing the hacked DNC emails, prosecutors say a senior Trump campaign official was directed to contact Stone about any additional releases and what other damaging information WikiLeaks had regarding the Clinton campaign. Mueller doesn't indicate who it was that directed that campaign official to reach out to Stone. At that time, then candidate Donald Trump made this public appeal.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
Although Stone himself was no longer officially part of the Trump campaign, leaving in August 2015. Prosecutors also say once he learned the FBI was investigating Russian interference in the election, Stone took steps to obstruct these investigations. Stone, known for conspiracy theories and underhanded tactics, his rise to political stardom is chronicled in the Netflix documentary Get Me Roger Stone.
And just to be clear, nowhere in this indictment do prosecutors allege that the Trump campaign coordinated with Russian efforts to sway the 2016 election. Trump tweeting once again, not surprisingly yesterday, that the investigation is a witch hunt and denied any collusion. Eva?
All right, Kara Phillips in Virginia for us this morning. And joining us now is ABC senior legal correspondent and analyst Sunny Hostin, who is also a former federal prosecutor. Let's get right into this. In his news conference, Roger Stone said the charges were completely false, and he really went after how it was all, saying it was politically choreographed the way it all went down. Could the special counsel be that wrong?
Well, I certainly believe everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but the special counsel has a pretty good track record. We're talking about 37 people already indicted. 6 Trump associates have been charged with making false statements. Mueller's investigation has exposed illegal schemes across international borders, produced more than 100 criminal charges. I've read this indictment, Eva. We're talking about a 24-page indictment chock full of details, charges. Could he have gotten it this wrong? I think that's really unlikely. And in terms of how this went down, I mean, the FBI certainly does this way. It's for the protection of the arrested. It's for the protection of the agents. You don't want someone to destroy evidence. You don't want someone to harm themselves. And so, of course, you arrest them, early in the morning. You need the element of surprise for everyone's safety.
Stone's attorney admits it's possible that he made an honest mistake during his testimony. Is that a viable defense in all of this?
I don't think so. I mean, ignorance of the law is not a viable defense. I don't think that's a viable defense. One thing that frustrates investigators, frustrates prosecutors, it really used to frustrate me, is lying during an investigation. It frustrates the truth-finding process, and it's something that we are seeing in this investigation over and over and over again. Again, 6 of the Trump associates that have been charged with lying to investigators. People should know by now that this investigation has been going on very methodically, and they have a lot of evidence. It seems that they have testimonial evidence, it seems that they have documentary evidence, and it seems like they may have tapes of some people lying. And so this is not the time to lie to the Mueller team.
And this investigation is not over yet. Sunny Hostin, always a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thanks for having me
this morning. We'll send it over to you.
All right, Eva, thank you. We want to turn now to a tragedy in Texas. One child killed and another badly injured when a school bus was struck by a train. ABC's Marcy Gonzalez joins us live with more. Marcy.
Good morning. Those two kids, one in middle school, the other in elementary school, were the only ones on board the bus with the driver, heading home at the end of the school day when they were hit. The images from the scene as horrifying as the outcome.
The Athens Fire Department is requesting assistance on a train accident involving a bus.
A train colliding with a school bus, killing one student and badly injuring another.
Our hearts are broken for the families and everyone involved.
The accident Friday afternoon in Athens, Texas, about 70 miles from Dallas, happening as police say the bus drove over tracks in an area with no way of alerting drivers of an oncoming train.
There's no warning lights there. There were only the crossbuck signs in place. There were no arms. There were no bells.
The impact pushing the bus a quarter of a mile down the tracks. First responders at the scene within 3 minutes, finding a 13-year-old boy dead, a 9-year-old girl trapped on board the bus.
It required a considerable amount of force to extricate her from the area of entrapment.
She was airlifted to a hospital where she's now being treated. The 78-year-old driver thrown from the bus, recovering this morning and talking to investigators. While overnight, this grieving community gathered to mourn and pray. And that 9-year-old girl is listed in critical but stable condition. Police say the driver had just a year of experience. They tell us he is answering their questions as they try to piece together how this happened. Dan.
Marcy Gonzalez, thank you very much. Horrible story. We're going to move now to St. Louis, where a police officer is facing up to 10 years in prison for fatally shooting a colleague as the two allegedly played Russian roulette with his revolver. 24-year-old officer Caitlin Alex was shot in the chest. She died on her way to the hospital. 29-year-old officer Nathaniel Hendren is now charged with involuntary manslaughter and armed criminal action.
And on a much lighter note, Naomi Osaka becomes the world's #1 female tennis player after beating Petra Kvitova to win the Australian Open. Check it out. Osaka is the first Japanese woman to win an Australian Open singles championship, and this time, as you might remember the previous time, it was nothing but smiles for her, unlike that traumatic U.S. Open win over Serena Williams last September.
And we spent a good 5 minutes coaching you on how to say Kvitova.
Yes.
You did it on camera very well.
I said it very quickly, getting past it.
Exactly, yes. Let's get to Rob Marciano, who's back from his fresh vacation. Again, you've had a lot of those lately.
What are you talking about? I just,
No, he was working during the week.
Yes,
so
I worked.
Thank you. Okay, got it.
It's a working trip.
I think he called you a slacker.
We haven't seen you around very much lately. That's
Thank you,
all.
Whit. Good to see you. We'll talk more about my vacation later. Let's show you some waves crashing in Lake Superior. Cold air. This is the leading edge of some cold air, multiple rounds of it, and it's splashing up against the UP of Michigan, where some of the snow has been piling up. Several cold blasts. We've been talking about this, well advertised, as the cold air builds across Siberia and the Arctic. It will be released down across the Great Lakes once again. So let's go over some of these numbers, what we expect to see. This morning, it's no picnic in Chicago, a little bit warmer than yesterday, but -13 for a wind chill, 9 degrees in Pittsburgh. A little bit of moderating tomorrow at ahead of the next Clipper system. We'll talk more about that later, but behind that is really dangerously cold. Wind chills Tuesday morning -13, Minneapolis -35. We go to Wednesday morning. This could easily be some of the coldest air we've seen in at least 5 years, maybe more than that. If Chicago stays below zero more than one day in a row, that's going to be decades we haven't seen this sort of cold. And -50, -60 degrees. That is really nasty stuff. Frostbite in a matter of minutes. All right, time now for a look at your local forecast. Hopefully it's warmer.
Hello and good morning, Washington. Meteorologist Alex Liggett here. Not a bad start to the weekend. Very seasonable out there with temperatures into the 30s by 11 o'clock this morning. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon. High temperatures into the lower 40s. Our average this time of year is into the low and mid 40s across our area. Cold tonight, not quite as cold as this morning. 23 to 29 when you wake up on your Sunday. Check out these Sunday temperatures, though. 50 degrees downtown, a mid-40s to the north and west, south and east, upper 40s. A beautiful Sunday ahead of us.
Last Monday, my day off, coldest ski day of my life in Stratton, where the temperatures were -35 wind chill. Don't do that for more than 10 minutes.
Whit was saying he was surprised to see you working today.
Yeah.
Look, I try to keep it down to a 1 day a week. I might show up tomorrow.
You are.
I didn't use all my vacation days last year. Stop giving me a hard time.